Hey friends, Andrew here, hope you're well. Alright, so this is a surprising laptop collaboration, and well, here's the thing, technically this is the ASUS Vivobook S15 OLED, which if we take a look at its specs is actually a pretty good laptop. It has an Intel i9-13900H processor, Harmon Kardon speakers, and a genuinely impressive 2.8K 120Hz OLED display. I've been using it for a few weeks and I'll share my hands-on experience in a moment, but really, as you can see, it's the BAPE collab that makes this laptop so special. It's one of the first streetwear crossover laptops I've personally come across, and a surprising collaboration between ASUS and the iconic streetwear brand BAPE, which stands for Bathing Ape. And before we dive in, a big thanks to ASUS and BAPE for sending this limited edition laptop out for me to test and for sponsoring today's video, but as always, opinions are my own. So for the uninitiated, BAPE is a streetwear brand originating from Japan in the 90s and has gained a worldwide following since then. And this laptop here marks BAPE's 30th anniversary. Okay, so when it comes to the design of this laptop, it's decked out, or maybe I should say it's dripped out with BAPE branding, from decals and the wallpaper to the laptop body with reflective BAPE camo patterns. The biggest visual highlight of the collaboration is the metallic lid here. It's photo light etched with the iconic BAPE camo patterns and has this sort of reward plaque thing made of stainless steel. But oh man, I need to show you the incredible packaging that it all came in. Right out of the box, it doesn't just come with the laptop, it's a full-on gift box really, with a BAPE-inspired mouse, carry bag, stickers. The laptop bag is surprisingly quite well constructed, and let's not forget about the iconic figurine, Baby Milo. Yep, that's its name. Its streetwear design is obviously going to be polarizing. You either appreciate it or you don't, but there's a market out there for it because in true streetwear culture, this is a limited edition run laptop, and it won't surprise me if we're going to see the aftermarket prices increase. But hey, that's all part of the Hypebeast culture, supply and demand at its finest. So design-wise, yeah, there's no denying it's an absolute hype beast of a laptop. I can see the design resonating with students and streetwear enthusiasts, but this isn't just a fashion piece, it is still a laptop. So let's take a look inside the laptop. And like I mentioned earlier, I've been using this laptop for a few weeks and it's quite impressive because it's technically a reskinned ASUS Vivobook S15 OLED. It uses Intel's i9-13900H, a mobile CPU based on Intel's impressive Alder Lake architecture. So with this CPU, that makes this Vivobook currently the fastest 45-watt CPU laptop. On Geekbench 5, it scored 13,198 for the multi-core test, so it's really only beat by Intel's Raptor Lake HX and HK based models. But I have to say what's even more impressive is that this CPU beats out Apple's M2 chip in the base model MacBook Air. I've seen a 60% improvement in the multi-core tests against Air's M2 chip, and that's not something to glance over. So together, as a package with 16 GB of LPDDR5 and a 1TB NVMe M.2 SSD, capable of read-write speeds of over 2,600 megabytes per second, this laptop cut through my creative workflow more than fine in the last couple of weeks. In fact, that's almost double the speed of my M2 MacBook Air's read-write speed of 1600 and 1400 megabytes a second, and that's because that laptop uses a single NAND flash drive. I've used Blender, Premiere Pro, and Lightroom regularly without hiccups, and saving these large RAW files onto the local drive was noticeably faster than my MacBook Air M2. But guys, the OLED display is actually what really took me by surprise when I first opened it up. It's an OLED panel, 15.6 inches in size, 2.8K resolution, smooth 120Hz refresh rate, and 100% DCI-P3 color coverage. And after running calibration in the Windows display settings and the ISO monitor test online, it's safe to say the display truly is the standout here and pretty ideal for content consumption. I'm not sure if the footage we captured does this display justice, but in person I'm seeing pretty great clarity, vibrancy, and of course for an OLED panel, very, very deep blacks. So yeah, this display makes content consumption a joy. And then adding to this display is the inbuilt Harmon Kardon speakers, and well, actually to be technically correct, they're built-in speakers certified by Harmon Kardon. Brands get that certification after going through Harmon Kardon's audio tests. So watching hours of content on Netflix and YouTube, stereo audio is above average from the dual speakers, which are also Dolby Atmos capable, which is really nice. The speakers are definitely loud enough for a full movie without external speakers, though the low end was lacking, but that's kind of to be expected for a small integrated laptop speaker. And so now between the display and speakers, it does casual gaming decently, but just don't expect full-blown gaming here. I tried Fortnite and CSGO and the frame rate hovers around 100, which is perfectly playable. That was though on 1080p resolution with most settings set to medium to high, so the game still looked pretty decent, but the lack of a cooling system in this laptop and the limited performance of the Intel GPU expect it to seriously struggle with more graphically intense games like, Metro Exodus, Forza Horizon 5, and let's not even talk about Cyberpunk. It's going to struggle with those types of games. The keyboard is pretty nice. ASUS calls it the ErgoSense keyboard, and it has a decent 1.4mm of travel with clicky feedback. The trackpad is also really spacious and offers loads of scroll room for your fingers. The Windows 11 touchpad gestures work great here. Things like zooming, scrolling, and 3-finger gestures. It's quite reactive, but I would have loved to see a glass base and not a plastic base for the trackpad to match the premium feeling keyboard experience. And when it comes to battery life, the Vivobook has a 75 watt-hour battery, and so I get a solid 7 to 8 hours of use from a single charge, and more like 12 to 14 hours with more general use, things like web browsing, so it's pretty ideal for on-the-go usage. There's also the standard 720p webcam with a physical privacy shutter, which is quite nice, a Thunderbolt 4 port, USB 3.2, USB 2.0, a 3.5mm jack, and HDMI 1.4. So, enough connectivity for a docked setup on the go. It's basically a package tailored to the entry-level to mid-level creative, in my opinion. With those specs and the exclusive BAPE branding, take a guess what this laptop is priced at, because when I first heard about this laptop, I generally thought it was going to be priced higher than it is simply for that BAPE collaboration. So it's priced at $1,300, and honestly, that's pretty decent bang for buck considering the Intel i9-13900H outperforms the similarly priced MacBook Air M2 and features a fun collaboration for the people who appreciate it. So the BAPE branding isn't for everyone. Some people don't care for streetwear, some people don't care for the exterior design of a laptop. Many just want to prioritize performance, and for those people, well, the Vivobook S15 OLED is a great mid-range, mid-price laptop to consider. And if BAPE is your thing and the specs meet your requirements, well, the Vivobook S15 BAPE Edition is practically made for you. This thing is streetwear dream material. For those interested in this laptop, drop a comment below. I'd actually love to hear from you. And if you made it to the very end of this video, comment the code word monkey and I'll give it a like. I'll drop a video here to my MacBook Air review if you're interested in that. And as always, thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next video.